Most coaches, consultants, agency owners really think bad show rates or low show rates think you have bad leads coming through your funnel. The wrong ones, you have to change your offer, change the messaging. Now, why do you do that? It's solely not because your offer or your messaging is bad. Could be a problem, but most likely it's not. You have a system issue, and I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it without making more content, without spending any more money on ads. It really can take you, just about 30 minutes today to increase your show rates later down the line, right? And let's get right into it. So this is the confirmation page loophole that will and can, double your show rates depending on what they are, right? And so you typically have just, this ad to the landing page. And by the way, if you didn't notice already, this is just call funnel, right? You could do something like this for a webinar, but it's going to look a lot different. So we're going to be focusing on call funnels right now. So then you have a confirmation page. You have a headline with a little bit of text here, perhaps, main video, urgency video, sub video, another sub video, and then you have the booked call, right? So this is where your setter might be contacting your leads. If you're not contacting your leads, you're probably doing something, wrong. It's not necessarily the end of the world if you're not contacting your leads, but you need to have a system. If you just have if you don't have anything here, and you just have like a Calendly, embed, which I see a lot, you're doing something wrong there. I can tell you that, right? And so something like this, it has a purpose of changing, the direction of your prospects' thinking, right, and leading them to the proper way you want them to get educated and nurtured before your call even happens, right? You don't want this to go on your setters. You don't want this to go on yourself or whoever's closing the call, right? Your closers. It's one of the highest leverage things you can actually do, right, inside your funnel. And I truly believe that, right? It's either one or two, and it's heavily slept on. It's not your leads that are bad. It's actually your system that is not working, right? And it looks like something like this, right? You just have a pretty easy, video here, headline. Just watch a video next. Is very generic, right? It doesn't even look the greatest, and then some text, right? And so you have as many videos as you really want down below it, right? And so what these actually answer, right? The top 4 to 5 questions or objections that your salespeople get, right? Talk to your salespeople or yourself. Simply, what is the prospect thinking about before the call? What the questions do they have? Expectations that they currently have before you even present anything to them. The first couple of touches, what do they think about you, really? And so you need to educate them in the proper way, present information in the proper way to nurture them, for them to know, like, and trust you, right? Especially with cold traffic, right? And so you shouldn't really realistically be booking people out at a maximum farther than 2 to 3 days, right? You guys are not being at 20, 30, 40, 50K a month, or even 100K a month. You're not at the capacity to, have, that many calls, right? To be fully booked out 3 days out, 3 days. Yeah, right. 12 calls a day. That's insane, right? And you know what I mean. At a consistent pace, just hire another closer. That. That's exactly what I would do. Even if you are, at that capacity. And so you have your booked call. Then I'm gonna show you this framework, and then you have the call self, right? And so let's go right into the actually meat and potatoes of this. So you might have seen this before. If you haven't, this is the nurture window framework, is what I would like to call it. 4 core pieces, close best practices. We're not going to get into depth on exactly what you do and say here on this video, but the 4 core pieces are, organic and short form, or organic videos, short and long form. There you go, English, right? Value dense emails, SMS, and ads, right? And then obviously you have your closer best practices here that is indirectly a part of the strategy. You could also include, a setter, right? The sales team, okay? And you got the most important thing that you can implement into your business right now, the confirmation page best practices. And let's get into it, okay? And so back to this example before, you likely are going to be having, obviously you have the ad and then you have the landing page. Well, regardless of this looks like your landing page, this is exactly what we give all of our clients. It's very simple, highly effective landing page, VSL page, right? Video application, then the scheduler is embedded inside the application itself, type for Calendly, right? And then we add a confirmation page, okay? And so to book the call, rather than doing this, they book a call. They go down here to the nurture window framework, and then through from the nurture window framework, they have the call, and then more times than not, because there's more people showing up to your calls, you will have more revenue coming in. Not because you have more traffic coming in, not because you doubled your ad spend, not because you made more content that day or a week or month, but because you just added a simple page inside your funnel that just is a system that is truly deadly when it comes to show rates, right? You can increase by multiple percentages, 10 to 15 to 20%, depending on your show rates right now. It's just crazy, right? And so let's get into it. So the confirmation page here. So at first you have, let's change this color real quick. Let's make it green here. So you have the urgency video. Okay, so this is the main video you have at the top, right? So you have the headline, whatever you want to say, like thank you, or watch this video real quick. Some urgency headline, right? Matching the urgency video. Okay, you're framing and educating, right? I like, everyone does this now. If they do have a confirmation page, you're like, okay, cool, like, hey, thanks for scheduling. Just go down below, just it gives you directions on confirming your call. Go here to your email and confirm your call. Look, okay, so you're a coach, agency owner, or consultant. How many times have you seen somebody do that, right? And you should know how to do that by now. And I'm assuming vast majority of your ICP know how to do that now, right? And so it's really not important. We see not as important as framing, just immediately nurturing, educating, right? If you get in front of them and start educating and framing yourself as the authority, and you're presenting information that is very valuable to them, getting ready for the call they just scheduled, of course they're going to go confirm that call. Of course they're going to look for more information about you inside their email, right? And so below this video, right, you're going to have sub videos. Okay, this is where you could also add confirm your call right here, right, in a video, right? You can guide them and walk them through it, what it looks like on a phone, what it looks like on desktop, depending on whatever you really want to do. I'd say do both, but if you're doing lead gen services and targeting home service businesses, some people don't care for videos, right? You know who you are. If you're targeting blue collar, they're not going to look at a video, right? Your confirmation page is going to have maybe a 30-second urgency video and literally just all text, right? Because they don't like watching the videos. And for your emails, you're not going to incorporate any sort of videos. It's just going to be straight emails, right? If you just want to have a confirmation page, if that's your niche, blue collar niche, having just straight text, so be it. Whatever works that helps your show rate, having that page in general is just going to increase your show rates by multiple percentage points, right? And so furthermore, like I said, these sub videos can just be little sections, right? It's section 1, section 2, section 3, and all these different sections or videos, right, are answering questions, objections, expectations. What questions come from the original questions? Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so what happens when this happens? Okay, you answer that question. Okay, and then another question comes up from that original question, right? And so nowadays you gotta look at LLMs, right? You gotta research about your own company, right? See what they're saying about your services, about what you offer, everything like that. That's very important, right? You gotta look at Trustpilot, look at Reddit best practices. Go make a video on certain reviews. If you have a bad review, go in and just attack the hell out of it, right? Go in Trustpilot, be like, oh, this is exactly what happened with this guy. He did this, he did that, and then we didn't even fulfill with him because of this, that, and the third. It's a very trust inducing process, right? It opens up eyes to a countless amount of people. It really the framing point, right? And just educating about your business, right? Go through your payments and dispute rates, right? If you're a coach, everyone does coaching, right? You definitely heard coaches coaching coaches, right? And so churn and dispute rates are huge in your industry, and agency owners as well. I mean, you just show it. Be like, okay, here's my dispute rate. It's 3%. Here's all the different disputes that I've gotten, and here's why they disputed, right? Be truthful about it. Don't hide anything. right? If you don't want to do that, you don't want to do that. Like, these are just all these different types of things I recommend doing, because it, gets somebody to know, like, and trust you in the matter of, very quickly, especially if you're booking 2 to 3 days out. You have a matter of, of hours, right? Days, right? To get as much content and as much nurturing and much education in front of them as you possibly can, so you can convert just as well as you're converting your warm audiences, right? And so below that, there you have your sections here, right? And I like to call them, like, breakout videos or sections, right? Or, you could do sections right here, okay? Depending on your niche, right? Just doesn't always have to be videos. And then you're just gonna have testimonials, right? It's very, very simple, right? And at the end of the day, we can actually look at the data, right? If you know your data, you should, right? And so, like, I made this bottleneck analyzer, okay? This is for call funnels, okay? You might have watched already one of my videos where I gave this out to you for free. It's a link in the description if you really want to go through it. Right? So we have, just very simple statistics here, right? A lot of this stuff you should know. A lot of business owners just don't know this stuff. That's why you hop on a call with me, and we can actually go through, a full audit, 15, 20 minutes long. We can figure out your bottleneck, really take you through the next steps on how to fix it, what to fix first, and what will actually make you the most revenue. But in this video, and for this instance, it's going to be your show rates, right? And so for average show rates, it needs to be 65 to 70% minimum as a floor, right? You could use whatever softwares you take for calls, calculate it out right there. But it's how many calls have you booked and how many people actually showed up to your calls, right? It's very, very simple. So we're just gonna have 20 booked calls, right? We're gonna have 20 booked calls. Let's just say your average order value is $5,000. You close everyone at PIF price, right? Regardless of monthly ad spend, you're just spending $3,600 on ads, right? So we're gonna analyze the bottleneck here, and obviously, your call show rates at 42%, right? What actually happens when you get it to the minimum, right? It's gonna tell you, right? It's very poor, right? And to watch your ROAS, I mean, like, a 3.8x ROAS is pretty good. Anything above a 2 is pretty good, I would say. But it tells you, right? Below 50% is like a serious problem. Really, like, below like 60%, like, you need to change that. You can change it. It's going to increase your revenue dramatically, right? And this actually tells you, like, fixing your call show rate to benchmark, like, 1.5%. The closes from the same ad spend. You don't spend more. You don't do more traffic. More leads come through. Like, you make 55% more revenue with no extra budget, right? And, like, I just want this to hit home, because, like, you're 42%, you get it up to 65%, you're making like $6,500 more, right? And so for some of you, that's just like going over your ceiling, like, very easily. Like, you're 20, 30, 40, 50K a month, right? You want to get, to, double your revenue, right? And the first thing would be attacking your bottleneck, right? And you're just at $6,200, almost $6,500 right there, just by adding a simple page. Adding a simple page, right? I'm telling you, it's very easy. It's so easy, right? And so if you want this done, for you, or you just are, like, very adamant about, like, going into your business, looking at the data, wanting my feedback and, advice, and strategic thinking about, like, actually going in and determining what you should actually change first, what would make you the most amount of money, and how much more money you would actually make with a system like this in place, right? And we can go in pretty in depth here, right? You see all these data points. We're going to go in pretty in depth on each one of these, right? Determining which one's your actual bottleneck and doing exactly what I just showed you here. $6,500, right? And then we can go, if it's a good fit, walk through the exact next steps on how we can actually do this for you. If you like this video, go ahead, like, subscribe, check out more of my content, if you want to. I think it's pretty valuable for you, specifically if you clicked on this video. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.